Given all of the business pitch contests that you've won, it seems you really have a knack for communicating your ideas. So what are some secrets for our listeners for communicating effectively?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is to understand that your idea probably isn't that complex, or at least it doesn't need to be that complex, right? So there is a way to describe it such that the average person will understand. But you have to test that. A lot of people assume that they've reached that point, but they probably haven't. I think the gold standard is, right, it's like the grandma test. Explain to your grandma, see if she can explain it back.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that my grandmother thinks that I donate blood for a living. So maybe I'm still getting there as well. But yeah, I mean, your idea is really not that complex. I mean, with Saw Comb, it's really interesting. So our business model is incredibly simple. We grow lettuce, then we sell lettuce. That's it. There's nothing else. But people always, even like judges, they'll say, wait, I don't understand. So is there like an app involved? I'm like, no app. Is there some deep technology involved? No, like you're making it way more complex than it needs to be. And it's a little different than we were talking about. The point is, it's not that complex. You just have to figure out how to make it not sound that complex. So for example, right, with Ichosia, with our blood product, I could talk about, how we're doing genetic engineering, we're working with these very technical types of stem cells, we're manipulating these genes in these ways, and that would, bore people to death. Instead, what I say is, you have blood, it does this great thing. There's a really big challenge in getting blood for other people. We make blood. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? So I think it's sort of, and I think a lot of people don't like to do it because they like to show off how smart they are and how brilliant their idea is. And don't get me wrong, I like to do that too.
Right.
But when you're communicating the idea, it's really important to make it easy to understand.
And you seem to have a very easy way of presenting. Is that something you worked at, or are you just pretty comfortable from the beginning?
I definitely, I was sort of, is a talent I was given with. I can just talk, but I also definitely work on it. Every single pitch is an opportunity to get better. I think, I think earlier you'd mentioned sort of goal setting for myself. The goal is always first place. So when we finish a pitch competition, actually, I'd say even if we do win first place, we'll spend a little bit more time congratulating ourselves. But 5 minutes after it's done, we go into review. Similarly to how athletes do. We'll look at the recordings of the pitch in the Q&A session, and we'll say, what could we have done better? And even if we won, it's what could we have done better? Because there's always potential to improve. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just important to understand that even the best pitcher, they're the best presenters, they're not above that. There's always opportunity to get better and to improve. So anyway, it's definitely something that I've worked on over time, but I am lucky that I'm somewhat good at this from the start.